So today's walk, I'm walking eastbound on Harrison on a walking path here, and I'm just east of Alpine Rd. This is Collins Aerospace, and it's got this really beautiful reflection pool right in front of these offices. Now, I remember when I first moved here, this was Hamilton Sunstrand. Now, the history of Hamilton Sunstrand, from what I vaguely recall, just doing a little reading and maybe going to the museums or whatever, is that Hamilton Sunstrand started out building plows or constructing plows, manufacturing plows. When? Was it the late 1800s or early 1900s? I'm not 100% sure. But Hamilton Sunstrand, which is now Collins Aerospace, is one of our largest employers here in Rockford. And so when I see that parking lot, when I see the parking lot full, and here's a little parking lot here, the big parking lot is right over there, and that big parking lot extends to the back of the building, probably about 3 blocks or so. So imagine that, like maybe a half a dozen football fields or more. Anyways, I'm walking up to the post office up here, which is another, actually a really nice structure. It's a nice architectural building. If you like mid-century modern buildings, or buildings that were built during the 50s and early 60s, when they started to become a little bit more modern, less traditional looking, you know. And most people can identify those buildings right away as being, oh yeah, that was definitely built in the 1950s. In fact, a lot of schools were built in the 1950s. In fact, my high school and elementary school in the Catskill Mountains of New York was built in the 50s. I think 1952 or so. It was actually built on a baseball field. Anyways, Collins Aerospace here, which is an RTX business. I'm not sure what RTX stands for, but I might check out Raytheon. Is it a Raytheon company? I don't know. But I know that they are big corporations, and some of their biggest contracts are attached to the military, or the military machine, as many people call it. Now, this is another building here that has always captured my attention. And the reason these buildings capture my attention is because they look like there's a lot of power, a lot of wealth in them. They're big structures, they're big businesses. And, you know, big companies don't house themselves in little wimpy looking structures. They have a lot of people. They need, you know, cafeterias, offices, elevators, maintenance departments, parking. And look at this, and look at the grounds. I mean, the grounds are pretty nice. You know, Rockford was a major manufacturing city in the Midwest, and it still remains a manufacturing city, but just not at the scale it was at the late, in the late 1800s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It may never return. In fact, the United States may never return to that, because there are other players now, and that's a whole other conversation. And that's not what this video is made for. This video here is so that folks who grew up in Rockford, specifically the south side of Rockford, the southern border of Rockford, Harrison. This is Harrison. I'm walking east right now. I'm going toward Perryville. So the first major road I'm going to hit is Mulford and then Perryville. So if you grew up in Rockford, you have seen the changes. I mean, Harrison is one of the largest roads in Rockford, and it crosses the city on its southern area, in the southern quadrant, east to west, west to east. And as you can see, the roads have a lot of street lights in them, on them, 4 lanes, turn lanes. It's a commuter road. So anyways, a lot of manufacturing down here on this side. In fact, if you don't deviate from the main thoroughfare artery of Harrison, you have no clue of all the manufacturing and small businesses that are just south of Harrison, all the way down to Sandy Hollow. And I used to work here, right through there pretty much, about a half a mile away. Miller Eye Center. It's a Miller Eye Center is a ophthalmic, or Dr. Miller is an ophthalmologist. I don't know if he's still there or not. I haven't seen advertising for him. I don't own a television, so I don't watch local advertising that much. But, you know, these areas 25 years ago, 30 years ago, when there was a major decline in manufacturing, a lot of these buildings and properties were really inexpensive. And so if you were smart and you had the capital and you were an entrepreneur or starting a business, you could rent or buy some of these facilities, these structures down there, have them renovated, especially if they were first light manufacturing, into like a medical office like Miller Eye Center. And I mean, I'm sure he's been profitable over the past 20-25 years. I mean, as we get older, we need cataract surgery, dry eye treatment, and all sorts of other stuff. But anyways, so down in this area here, south of Harrison, a lot of manufacturing, light manufacturing, and a lot of small businesses. And I always suggest to people, wander, take a drive, look around, see what's going on in your city. We're oftentimes so packaged in a box, and we never see what's around us. And when I say we don't see what's around us, I'm not just referring to, you know, small businesses or little companies that are manufacturing. Some of these small companies are major manufacturers. I mean, they're big. They may only have a small facility, but they're exporting and they're importing and they're designing and innovating, and it's quite exciting too. So anyways, but also a lot of folks in their own towns, in their own states, cities, whatever, they don't even know what's in their own community in regards to like tourist attractions or just attractions or things that are unique to your area, you know, including like historic bookstores or art galleries or, you know, famous churches or, you know, a lot of history. And so it's quite exciting when you step out of the box, get out of your litter box, get out of your cardboard box, and go explore. So anyways, this is a video on Harrison, walking eastbound. And if you lived here, share your comments. I mean, what was going on down here? You know, this was all farmland, probably, I would say probably 40, 50 years ago. 50 years ago. Okay, so here's the post office. Nice little walk. I don't think it was a mile. And it's nice that this trail is here along this really busy road. Now, I've walked this trail almost all the way to Perryville, which is probably close to 2 miles. I don't think this trail goes all the way down there. I think I had to walk on the shoulder for quite a bit. But this is a beautiful, beautiful structure here. I'll probably just photograph this in black and white. I like the font, the lettering, and the lines. The lines just, you know, it just shouts to me 1950s, 1960s. I mean, you know, think of some of the companies or businesses that your parents worked in or your grandparents worked in when they moved into new facilities like these, you know. So we'll see what the date is on this building. It should be on a plaque somewhere. But here we are, beautiful building, United States Post Office, Rockford, Illinois.